Hello everyone. Once again, welcome to the SQL classes. And today I'm planning to continue the sessions over the triggers. So we have started trigger last week with the DML after trigger, if you can remember. If you are checking this class for the first time, then I will request you to check the first part of this class. That is 18.1, and that is on DML after trigger. So just for a recap, whatever we have done, what is trigger? Trigger is some type of scripts similar to store procedures. Store procedures run on some particular time, but trigger is a special kind of store procedures, which runs after an event. Something happens, after that trigger is activated. So that is the trigger. We have discussed with a lot of examples of triggers. More than 10 triggers we have created in the first class. So if you just go through that, it will be good for you. And we also discuss in that class, like we have three types of trigger: DML trigger, DDL trigger, and logon trigger. In DML, if we further check, in DML we have two type of trigger. One is before, another is after. So we have checked what is after trigger. But now, today, we will going to check what is before trigger. Before trigger, as the name suggests, it works before an event happens, not like the previous one. The previous examples in the first class that we have discussed, the basic examples, that happens generally after some event works. After insertion happen, then it works. So you cannot stop the insertion. If you feel like, okay, I want to stop some insertion, I want to stop some deletion, you cannot do that because it happens after the deletion already done. Deletion is completed, then the trigger start working in case of after trigger. But in case of before trigger, suppose someone is deleting something, and this trigger will work before the actual deletion happens. So if needed, if required, you can also stop that deletion to be happen. So that is the main advantage of instead of trigger. So instead of trigger can be applied on the DML events like insert, delete, and update. So let's see how is the syntax for the deletion for the instead of trigger. So we had a nice table. What I can remember. So let's start from movie customers, I guess. Yeah. So let me check. Yeah. So today, let me create a trigger instead of trigger or before trigger, whatever you can call it. So I can write create trigger. Let me give a name like TR. I forgot where we stopped last class, but let's say let me create a trigger called TR 100, something like that, and I can write here on the table movie customers. Now I will write this keyword called instead of suppose instead of insert, as, begin, and end. So here I will just do something like print something high what TR 100, something I will write simply. If I try to run, okay, instead of is not recognized. So it is not about the syntax. You can see I also forget if it is instead space of or instead of. So if you face the error, simply check in Google what is the syntax. So it is kind of, so don't go with the complicated syntax. Don't think like, okay, it is too much complicated. If you forget, simply make some changes, it will work. But where we need to be more focused on, we need to be more focused on here in this part, whatever scripts you are writing inside the trigger, because these are moreover common. You have to mention like create trigger, any trigger name you have to mention. After that, you have to mention on some table name. After that, you have to mention instead of or after or anything as per the requirement. And here you have to mention the DML event. So it is moreover the same. If you practice 10 or 20 triggers, I think it will be more than enough. Okay, and you will never forget the syntax if you are not forgetful like me. So otherwise, all the logics, all the concepts, you have to put it here. So this part, for the time being, I kept it very simple, like print hi tr10 something. But this part is something critical. So let me insert some data here. So I can write insert into movie customers. And I'm not going to insert everything. I'm just going to insert customer ID, customer name, and comma gender. So let me write values. So here I can put something like some new member called suppose 111, and I can insert suppose Ravindra, say someone named Ravindra, and if I do that, if I execute, you can see it is saying hi tr10. But how it can be proved like it is working before the insertion happened? Because we saw something similar in the after trigger as well. So it is just the same thing. How we can understand like it is happening before the insertion? So let me show you one interesting thing here. If I check the table movie customer, you can see no one has been inserted as named Ravindra. It is very strange. We have inserted Ravindra. If you want, I can insert it once again. 111, someone, one having roll number or customer ID 111 with name Ravindra. If I execute, it is saying, sorry, I'm selecting the wrong part. Okay, let me select this one and run again. You can see it is saying hi tr10. It is showing one row affected, but I cannot see anything here, anything with Ravindra 111. So that is strange. Why it is happening? The reason behind this, if I go to the second point, definition of trigger overrides the event action. What does that mean? It is the second property in front of the interviewer. Obviously, you are going to say all these things like what are the properties. They will be asking you all the questions. They will be checking you checking with lot of questions with check your concept, how much you feel confident on the trigger. So it will be good if you just try all these codes by yourself in your SQL Server. So what is happening to gain the confidence? What is happening? What is the meaning of this line? Definition of trigger overrides the event action. So if you are writing anything in the trigger definition, in the trigger body, if you are writing something, that will override the actual action. So it means instead of real insert, do this thing. Whatever you write, we will obviously write some complicated lines here, but that will be later. But for the timing, I'm saying before the insertion happen, I am saying instead of insert, do not insert. Instead of insert, execute this line. So obviously that is happening before the insert. That is already proved. It is not happening after the insertion is completed. No, it is happening before the insertion, real insertion happen. So whenever I'm trying to insert Ravindra's record into movie customer table, it is saying me, don't insert. Instead of insert, print this comment. That's all. So actually, basically, it overrides the event action. Whatever you will write. So if I delete now something, obviously delete will work because we do not have anything defined on delete yet. But whenever someone is going to insert something, it will just say like it will not going to delete. Instead of insert, it will just going to print this thing. Whatever you write, it will execute your lines, not insert. Okay, I'm going to check this property later. We will leverage more on that. But for the time being, it is saying you can define one instead of trigger per event. Okay, let me try to insert. Let me try to create another trigger on insert. So let me create a trigger called tr101 on movie customer, on instead of insert once again, and here I am writing TR101. Very simple triggers. I'm just showing now. If I execute, it is saying cannot create trigger TR101 on table movie customer because and instead of insert trigger already exists in this object. So it is valid. You have to understand it is not just a property. If you really want to work in the world of data, you have to understand everything. You have to understand all the topics, not to memorize all the syntax. Syntax might be tough, might be easy, but that can be manageable by Google. You can see all the syntax listed in Google. If you forget, just take a help from there. But the concept, it is not just one line, it is not just one property. You can define one instead of trigger. Why it is limited to one only? Because you can feel like if they allow to create two triggers on insert, just try to understand. One trigger named TR10, whatever the lines may be written here, whatever the lines is, just forget about the lines. Another trigger they allow to create on TR101 and whatever the lines written here. For the timing, it is simple print. But if they are having some contradictory lines, here someone saying insert the record, and here someone is saying do not insert the record, what will happen in that case? So it will create some confusion. That's why SQL Server is not ready to go for any confusion. So they have said you can, obviously, if anyone tries to insert, you can override that action with your statement. It will not going to insert something. It will going to follow your lines. For the time being, it is just a stupid printing. But instead of insert, it is going to follow this line. So now if you have two insert triggers, insert before trigger, then which line it will follow? This one, this one or this one. So that might create a confusion, means in some specific situation. Here it is just printing, it will not create any confusion, but over the time, when we will check some complicated thing, so it might create some confusion. That's why they have restricted like one instead of trigger only per event. Okay, so I'm just now playing with insert. So you can define it for others as well. The last option, you can use all the DML events together or any two or any one. Yeah, so if needed, you can do something like this as well. Okay, I have not created 101 because they have not allowed. So I can probably change this. So I can create a trigger 101 instead of delete and update together. And then I can write ITR 101. So it means if you want to delete something, it is not going to be deleted. So let me try to delete something from here. So delete from movie customers, where suppose customer ID equals to suppose 106. I want to delete Nisha's record. Say. So if I do that, so instead of delete, it is going to print high tier 101. It has already printed high tier 101. Now my turn is to check if Nisha's record still exists here or not. You can see Nisha is still there. So nothing is deleted. Okay, Nisha happily checked the movie Black Adam and Pathan. So there is nothing deleted because instead of delete, it is overriding this line. So you cannot insert, delete, update anything now in the table. Okay, it will just follow your lines. So that is where instead of trigger is different than DML triggers. And I hope you got all the points correctly by heart, not like just few lines. These are not like few properties. You know why it is happening. If not, just let me know in the comment section. I will try to give you some other examples. If yes, let's proceed if you are able to understand. So let's check quickly real scenarios of instead of trigger, because you know what is trigger. There is no meaning to discuss more on that because we have already checked all the things in the after trigger. So both are same, but I will show you some examples, some real time examples where you can do some manipulations and you can do some checking. So here it is saying delete one record in means I will try to delete one record and I will try to show you some real-time need of instead of trigger. Okay, so if I decide like, okay, in some special case, I will delete, I will allow to delete, but some situations I will stop deletion as well. So my purpose is very clear. Suppose, let's say, if you have a valid movie name, then I will allow you to delete. Or if you have ticket price is something defined, I will not allow you to delete. But if your ticket price is null, I will allow you to delete. So if now someone's delete Shoma's record, it will be deleted. But if now anyone try to delete Anand's record, it is not going to be deleted because Anand has a valid ticket. Something. Suppose if someone might say from my team, like, okay, Shoma's record is invalid because I can see null value at ticket price. Probably she hasn't purchased a ticket or something wrong happened. So now if you want to delete, if you want to call this record as invalid, something wrong in this record, and if you want to delete something, it is okay because I can see ticket price is null. But for others, ticket price is good. So you cannot delete any record where ticket price is defined. So suppose they have made some rules like that. But before going for create for those triggers, I have to delete this trigger because we can create only one instead of trigger per event. So let me delete this trigger first. Delete means drop. I will just drop this trigger. So let me drop the trigger TR10. Let me drop the trigger TR10. Now, what I will do? First, let me insert something like Ravindra's record. Now I can insert easily because I do not have any trigger. What you can see, these are the after triggers. You can see it is still working. So now if I check the movie customer, I guess Ravindra will be there. Yeah, Ravindra is here now because there is no such instead of trigger anymore working on that. But yeah, after triggers will obviously work because we have created a lot of after trigger in the last class. So now I'm going to create a delete trigger. Create trigger. Let me create the trigger again with the name like TR100 on the table called movie customers. Instead of a delete. So instead of delete, what you want to do, you have to be very careful. Like here, whatever you are going to delete, that is going to come in your deleted table for sure. That is going to come in your deleted table. Let's explore first. So just you are trying to print something in the deleted table. Means instead of trigger. So it proves. Okay, let me first delete movie customers where customer ID equals to 106. 106, no, 111. Ravindra's record. Let me try to delete Ravindra's record. So you can see instead of deleting, it is not deleting Ravindra's record. Instead of deleting, it is just printing the deleted table. And you can see the same structure like movie customer table in the deleted table as well. So it proves inserted and deleted tables that we have learned in our last class. We call it magic table or virtual tables. So those magic table or virtual table created in the database before few milliseconds before the actual delete happen, and it stays there after few milliseconds as well after the real deletion takes place. So here we have already proved that we have already played enough with the inserted and deleted table in our last class. But here we can see deleted table is created before the actual deletion happens. So data you are going to be deleted, you are going to delete that data already appears into the deleted table before the real deletion happens. It is created in this way because you might need to do some validation over that. So what I will do, I will simply pick up the customer ID 111 and I will pick up the ticket price from here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just first I want to define some variables. Now some complicated work starts. So I will define some customer ID in integer. I will also define some ticket price. Suppose ticket price, and ticket price will be suppose numeric something numeric. I forgot. It was numeric 6,2 or something probably. I forgot anyway. What was the field name? So what I'm going to do now, I will just write select @CID. I will just pick up this customer ID and this ticket price both. So I'm going to write customer ID from deleted table. I'm going to pick up the customer ID. Also, I'm going to pick up the ticket price. No, sorry, it was name was ticket price, and the field name was ticket ticket price, I guess. Yeah. So I'm going to pick up both of them. So now a couple of lines I'm writing. It is not anymore that stupid printing line. I'm doing something good now. So now simply if ticket price is null, we know how to play with these variables. If you are not aware, I will request you to revise the class on SQL variables. Like it was class number 6, what I can remember. I'm not sure. Just take a look. It is SQL variables. There was a class you can find in the playlist. So again, I am doing all this class scientifically, gradually to make an impression in your mind. It is not because of subscribing my channel or to make it popular. I like it. It is not my profession. It is just passion. So just try to go through all of those classes. Okay, and it will be a good process of learning as well if you do it gradually. So if @TP is null, if the ticket price is null, then I'm saying like, okay, delete the record. Then I'm saying delete from the actual table, movie customers, where customer ID equals to the customer ID I have already picked up from the deleted table. So logic is very simple. Picking up the customer ID from the deleted table, picking up the ticket price from the deleted table. So I am picking up 111 and null, both of them. Now what I'm doing, I'm just checking if the ticket price is null. In this case, ticket price is null. Then I'm suggesting to delete that record, which is having customer ID, something like this. And I can write another thing, and ticket price is null. Suppose if Ravindra has some more record, I'm not going to delete the valid records. I'll be deleting that where ticket price is null and it is Ravindra's record. Customer ID is CID. Again, it will take some time for you to grab this idea because you are checking this for the very first time. I will try to introduce some complicated situations, some situations gradually, again, scientifically, one after another from easiest to toughest, so that you can try to think over this thing. Okay, it will be good if you start thinking over these topics. So what I'm doing now, again, I'm picking up customer ID and ticket price from the deleted field, whatever you are trying to delete. I'm picking up those values, and here I'm just checking delete from that table. Obviously, if the ticket price is null. If the ticket price is not null, I'm not saying any single thing on that. If ticket price is not null, that means do nothing. I have not written anything. So if they have some valid ticket price, then do not do anything. Do not delete. If ticket price is null, then delete. So I am doing all those things before the actual deletion happens. So probably I cannot create because it is already there. So I have to alter. If I want to change some definition of some object, I can use alter. So if I execute, now it is okay. Now if I check the movie customer table once again, and obviously Ravindra is there. So let me try to delete Ravindra's record. That is 111. If I delete, let's see what happens. It is taking some time. I don't know, it is for my machine or for some other reasons, but it is taking some time. Yeah, something happened. These are, you can see, these are the after triggers. But if I check if Ravindra's data is anymore there or not, you can see Ravindra is really deleted. Finally, I am able to delete Ravindra because Ravindra has null in their ticket price. Okay, now if I try the same for Soma, Soma will also be deleted because I can see Soma's ticket price is also null. But I'm not deleting Soma's record because it is quite a good record overall, but I do not want to delete. But if I try to delete, it will be deleted. Let me try to delete someone else like Anand. If I try to delete Anand's record, you can see 109 Anand, but Anand has a valid ticket, I can see. So Anand record will not be deleted. It is showing one row affected, but let me see if Anand is really deleted or not. You can see Anand is still there. So it is in real time, if you want to take some safety, like, okay, in some special conditions, you want to delete, otherwise you want to stop deletion. Suppose if it is the case, in those cases, you can go for the instead of trigger. Sometimes you want to delete on some special criteria, you want to allow delete. In those cases, you can go for the instead of trigger. Got it? So that's my point. The next example, like if I show you, if you delete multiple records, here I'm deleting one record only. And that's why I'm deleting one record only. And that's why you can pick up this customer ID, pick up this ticket price and all. But if it is a lot of value, what you are going to do then? So here you have to, okay, let me change the trigger, alter trigger. So suppose I'm deleting quite a lot of value, like I'm deleting Anand, Soma, and Nisha together. I attempt to delete these three people, or let me insert Ravindra as well. Let me insert Ravindra as well. It is taking some time. Yeah, so I guess now Ravindra is there. Yeah, so now what will happen if I try to delete Ravindra, Soma, Nisha, and Anand? Say Nisha has another record. So if I try to delete 5 records together, only Ravindra and Soma will be deleted because they have null in the ticket price. And Anand, Nisha, they will not going to be deleted because they have a valid ticket price. If I try to delete in a combination, what will happen? So let's explore. So here I do not need this customer ID's ticket price because it will work only for one value. A variable, what was the definition of the variable? Variable can take only one value inside. So obviously this process is not going to work anymore. So how we can do that? So first, let's explore the way, like select star from movie customers. I will write, and what I will do, I will going to, okay, let it be movie as in inner join deleted. The toughest part is you cannot see if the inner join is working or not because deleted table normal time it doesn't exist. So I will write something on m dot customer ID equals to d dot customer ID, what you are trying to delete. So let me first create this trigger and let me explore what it is giving because normal time I cannot see because deleted table is not deleted table doesn't exist. So I'm trying to now delete customer 101, that is Anand, and customer 111, that is Ravindra. So obviously it is not going to delete. It will just print the inner join outcome. My machine becoming very slow. Probably I have not restarted it for a couple of months. Probably I forgot when I last restarted that. But okay. So I can see a combination of record. So now this is a combination of movie customers and deleted record. So now I want to delete those records for which ticket price is null. So I want to target that thing. So what will be my criteria? So if I add where now m dot ticket price is null, I want to target that one. And here what I can do, if you want to delete, if you can remember the class of join, I have shown you how to update or delete with join. So I can just write delete from m, and after that the same query. I prefer that way. If you want to delete or update something using two tables, so first always write the select statement. What I follow, because otherwise the syntax become too complicated for me. If you want more idea on that, you can refer to the class of join. Again, I was explaining, like I'm doing all the things, I'm choosing all the examples scientifically so that you can learn gradually one by one. If you are following from starting of the playlist, so I guess you start liking SQL as well, because it is that much of scientific and that much of interest you have. But in Google, obviously, you can find something out of nowhere. So you might be confused. But here we have done this already in our join class. So first write the select statement with join. Now, if you want to update or if you want to delete, just delete the select star and put your delete statement, and that will be enough. That will be enough. So I think from is not there used. I forget the syntax, but let's explore. Syntax is not the key thing. Syntax might look tough, but you can take the help from Google. So let me execute now. Yeah, I have written the correct syntax, luckily. So now let me delete both the customers together. And what will be the outcome? Anand should be there, not Ravindra. Let me delete. Something happened. Let me check if Anand still exists or not. I can see Anand's name here, but I cannot see Ravindra anymore. Okay. So the approach is very simple. If you are doing, I have shown you two ways. Means if you want to do some operation on one deletion, you can take the help from variable. Otherwise, you can simply, if it is multiple deletion happening simultaneously, so you can simply join your deleted table with movie customer and choose your data. Means at least you can get two data only, Ravindra and Anand. And out of that, who has ticket price as null, you can delete them only. And this is called delete with join. You can learn this in our join class. I forgot the number of class. It is probably 9th class. But again, I forgot. You can check the playlist. So this is the idea. But again, obviously in office, it is not like you will go into the office and you will solve this query in few minutes and going to come back to home. No. In office, in your workplace, you have to think over this solution. You have to scratch your head. You have to give some minutes, you have to give hours, even you have to give more than that to solve this kind of situation. You will be given enough time, but yeah, obviously you have to come up with a good idea that will work in all the situations. So you will get some time for that, but start thinking on that. I will also design the exercise in that way so that you can think more on that. Okay. In prior to go to your workplace, if you are still a student or if you are practicing SQL, I will try to put something good in the exercise, something real time. But these are some examples of real scenarios of instead of trigger. So now if I go further, we are almost done. Just I want to give you some topics that might be needed to use later. So for that, I'm going to show you two more things. Like instead of trigger on view, if you want, you can create a trigger on a view as well. Okay, so how to do that? Let me create two new tables very quickly. Create table, suppose create tables called college, or create table simply, suppose uh, college students, something. I have a table called students, I guess. So I can write college students, and another table, say create table, the college employees, means who got a job or who is already working as an intern, so college interns. Okay, something like that. Let me create that very quickly. So we have created the tables like college students and college interns. College students have the columns like student ID and student name. Same for college interns, say they have the column like intern ID and intern name. Let me create that. And let me insert the college students and college interns two data each. So let me insert that. Yeah. And now let me create a quick view like all college all or something. So I will create that as select star from college students as well as union uh, select star from college interns. So just let me show you how it is going to look. It is going to look like something like this. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me do copy this thing. Student ID as suppose CID, college ID or something called person ID, say PID, person or something. Let me do it like create view person. Say the student ID as person ID. I just want to recognize all the person who are student, who are intern. So I want to understand, I want to know everyone. So just I'm putting student name as P name, the person name. And I want to put another thing just to mention he is a student or he's something else. So I can write something like person type, P type. Okay. So same here. I want to mention intern ID. Let me put that. So just I'm creating one simple package, one simple view, just combining both the people. So intern ID, intern name, and I want to recognize them. What is the type of that person? Is he or she is student or intern? If I show you, so it looks something like this. Ramya is a student, Urvashi is an intern, Abhishek is a student, Ricardo is an intern, something like that. So I want to create a view called person. So let me create that. Yeah, it is created. So if I check the view now, it you know what is view. Again, we have learned what is view earlier in earlier classes. So if I check this, today most of the things has been done. I'm just doing this. I'm just giving you a few details over instead of trigger just to be confident with that. So it is the view. So you can create a trigger. Suppose create trigger. Suppose tr 111 something instead of sorry, create trigger tr111 on the view person. So here it is a view, not a table. So I just wanted to show you I can create a trigger on view as well. So I'm just writing instead of insert as begin and end. So whenever someone inserts something, it will be in inserted table. So just I wanted to check, I just wanted to insert those details into student table where select PID, comma, PName from inserted table. So if you are going to insert anything in a view, that is going to be there in inserted table. So I just wanted to segregate them into corresponding tables. I just wanted to mention where P type equals to student. If P type is student, then I'm going to insert that into student. If P type is intern, then I'm going to insert that into the intern table. Okay, the table name is college student, I guess. College students, sorry. And here it is college interns. Okay, so I will create that trigger. But before that, let me insert something into the view person. So if I try to insert something into the view person, insert into person, so values, Suppose let me insert someone with role 3, say, and say Akash. Suppose I want to insert Akash and I want to insert Akash into suppose table called, okay, Akash is suppose student. So if I do that, if I execute, it will give me an error because it is saying update or insert view of a function person means of the view person failed because it contains derive or constant view. So normally you cannot insert anything into the view. We have learned that because it is a derived view. It came with the help of two tables. We did that in our view chapter. So if a view is derived from like union or something by unioning two table or by combining two table using union, you cannot make any insert because obviously how can the view understand like where I need to put Akash? Yeah, you might say like okay, student is written, but SQL is not that clever. SQL will not be able to understand like okay, suppose if I give here if I give doctor, now tell me where should I put Akash? Because there is nothing as such. So SQL will simply not allow anything as insertion, okay, into the underlying tables because that view doesn't know where Akash record will go. Will it be into student or will it be into intern or nowhere else? So that logic no one tells. Like if I give doctor or if I give null here, what to do? They do not know. So in result, what SQL is doing, SQL has stopped all the insert operation because SQL do not know what to do with the doctor. So SQL is clueless, SQL stopped any type of insertion. And that's why even if you put something like student, then also you cannot expect this value being inserted. Obviously, it will be failing because there is no rule. In some situation, trigger is a very good solution. So just I'm creating a trigger on the view and just saying if someone is inserting student, then insert that data in student table. If someone is inserting with intern, insert it into the intern table. If someone is using some other p type like doctor or null, then I have not mentioned anything. That means do nothing. So now the view has a clear indication what to do. Now if I execute, it is allowing the data. So what it is doing, if I check the college student table now, if I check the college student table now, select start from college students, you can see the data of Akash because I have defined the rule. But initially, the SQL was not sure what to do with doctor, what to do with null. So it was not sure. So that's why it was not allowing any insert. And that is the advantage. Means instead of insert, you can define the rules. So now you define, if you have some good value like intern, the data would be going to intern table. If the type is student, the data will be going to student table. If you put anything like engineer, doctor, or anything in the P type, then it do nothing. I have not mentioned anything about doctor, anything about engineers. So that means I am saying do nothing, do nothing. So now you can insert such value using this view, but normally it is not possible. So that is one of the other advantages that we will get with this instead of trigger when it works with the view. So generally views are very restricted. You cannot insert anytime anything with the view. The view needs to be very simple, but if you add a trigger, it will work according to your requirements, your choice. Okay. So the last topic for the day, after and instead of trigger. So let me give you a very good example with that. Okay, I can use this table itself, or let me create another table very quickly. I can do something like school students, suppose something like that. It will be very easy to develop. Let me define primary key here because we know what is constraint. So if you define something as primary key, you cannot put null or you cannot put any duplicate value. So let me create that table, create table school student simply. So now if I define two trigger on that. So first, a trigger like create trigger TR200, say, on school students, and it will be like instead of I'm just comparing neck to neck what is an after trigger and what is an before trigger. So I'm just writing instead of insert, I will just print again. Let's go back to the some stupid printing statement. So I'm just printing something like hi TR101, and it is before trigger. It is a before trigger, something like that I want to print. So let me create that. And also, I'm just trying to print something, create trigger to her to TR201, and it will work something like after insert, and I am going to print, sorry, I did a wrong message. It will be 200. But let me drop the trigger very quickly. Yeah. So let me create it back with the correct message, HI TR200. And now here I want to make 201, and I can write it like here after trigger. If I run. So now if I try to insert something here into this table, so let me copy the data from here. So just I wanted to insert something into school students. This is the last topic, not big. So I have inserted Ramya, and you can see 200 before trigger. Why you are not able to see the after trigger? Because our definition has updated, means instead of insert, now it is going to print something only. So I have to alter the trigger. I just want to have the real insertion. So that is the first condition. After trigger will not work because before trigger is changing the definition, means instead of insert, it is just going to print. So no real insertion are happening. So after trigger will not work. Just a simple example I am showing you. Both the triggers are there. Okay, TR200 and TR201. It is after and it is before. But you can see only 200 before trigger is working. Why? Because it has changed the definition. So no real insertion are happening. But if you want to have the real insertion to happen, so just you need to write insert into school students. And you can write select start from inserted. So whatever is there in the inserted table, in the magic table, you want to insert that. Yeah, obviously, before you want to do a print, and after that you want to insert that. So let me alter the trigger version. Now the real insertion will happen. And now if I try to insert Abhishek's record, let me try to insert Abhishek's record. You can see both of them are working, before trigger and after trigger. So you have to define something in before trigger to make it working. Otherwise, obviously, if there is no real insertion happen, after trigger will not work anymore. So that is one point. And now, the thing is, if I try to insert Abhishek's record one more time, we have a constant like primary key, so you cannot give duplicate value. So let me try to insert Abhishek's record once again. So if I do that, you can see before trigger will always work. I know this insert is not a valid insert because it is violating the constant of primary key. I'm trying to insert Abhishek's record once more. But that validation will be performed, like if you are doing thing correctly or if you are doing thing incorrectly, that validation will work after before trigger will work. So first, whenever I'm trying to insert Abhishek's record, it is not validating anything. It is going here. It is printing the message. This message it is printing, you can see it here. And after that, it is trying to perform the real insert. And it is failing. So obviously, if it is failing, there will be no after trigger working, means after the insertion, because no insertion are happening. So if it is violating any of the constraints, or if the insertion doesn't take place, obviously after trigger will not work. So you have to be very selective when to choose what. Means when you will be choosing this thing, when you will be choosing before trigger, when you will be choosing after trigger. So that is our concept actually. So after and instead of trigger, it depends on the requirements. And at last of everything, if I just want to show you another table that we created on our first class of trigger, movie customer audit. Probably you all forget about that. But if you check, today is 1st of August. So all the insertion and deletion happened on the on movie customer table. All of them are being logged. All the insertion, all the deletion, everything. You can see it started on 27th of July when I inserted a few things on the after trigger class. But today also I have done some real insertion and deletion in the movie customers. So you might forget that, but who created that table, he can see all the logs there. So again, it is a good thing for the after trigger. So if any insertion and deletion are successful, then you can see all the logs are generating in this movie customer audit table without means people might not know about that, but still it will keep working on that. So between 27 and 1st of August, it didn't work. So whenever I inserted something in this table today, it is again generating that log. So it keep working when an event occurs. So that is the goal of our trigger as well. When some DML operation happens, then this type of trigger works. And you need to find the difference and the usability wise difference between instead of trigger and after trigger. So sometimes after trigger are needed, sometimes instead of trigger needed. So you have to decide that on situation. If you still not able to understand something, I will request you to practice all those codes by yourself. Still, if you are facing any problem, just let me know in the comment section. I will try to make some examples by which you will be able to understand. Let's see. So just let me know. And bye for the day. See you soon. Bye.